Yo, you tuning in to Eyesore Radio. Yo, we got a special guest in the house for this episode. Hey, yo, guest, state your name. Where you from?
Hi, I go by the name of Pinky, Pink, Pinkele. You got options.
Where'd you get that name from?
I originally got it from middle school. I've always wore a lot of pink, and so they just slapped it on me one day. So I was called Pinky at first, and a lot of my long friendships still call me Pinky. And then there's people that call me Pink, which are like, you know, not so close to them, but acquaintance. And now I also go by Pink LA, which stemmed out of my brand.
Oh, right on. How long have you been creating art?
I've been painting for about I was 15 years old when I first started tagging, writing, the MTA buses, and then I hopped onto freeway bombing at a very young age, and then I took a break at some point. I think I was like 18, 19 when I kind of disappeared, and then I came back into the game when I was about 23, and I haven't stopped since.
So, like, when you're creating your work, is it like practice or is it like passion? You would say that like makes you a better artist.
I strongly believe a, it's both. In order for you to get better, you have to practice, and in order for you to practice, you have to have the passion to do so. If you don't have, there's a lot of people that are talented and they don't even have to practice a certain style or a specific letter or a specific color scheme. It kind of just comes to them. But if they're lazy, they're never gonna amount to much. And then there's also people that are not skilled and that have the passion enough to get out of their comfort zone and move on to being better. And so that passion is what kind of takes over. So for me personally, it's been a little bit of both. For a while, I was in a place where I kind of just wanted to do a lot of, hot girl shit, just kind of bombing out there in and out and just chasing that thrill. And then I also got, I met myself in a point in my life where it was more like, okay, you know what, let me sit still and really pay attention to what I'm putting, the effort that I was putting into my craft. And so then that's when a lot of different techniques started coming into my art.
How would you describe the graph scene in LA?
Jesus, there's a lot of words for it. I think first and foremost, I would say the word I want to use is raw. There's a lot of rawness. I mean, I feel ever since social media came in the picture, some of it has been put up in jeopardy. But there's a lot of people out there still that, keep that rawness alive, where it's not just about, what picture you're going to post or how many likes you're going to get or how many comments you're going to get or how many, the reels that you're going to create. Like, there's a lot of people out there that are actually still holding it true to themselves and being original about putting in real work in the street. And by that, I mean that when you're driving down the street, you're seeing someone up. It's not just you seeing them on Instagram or on TikTok or whatever platform it is.
How do you see the graph scene now compared to when you first started?
I think I kind of just touched that right now, but it's different. There was a lot of more originality before, and also there was a lot of more sense of community. I feel like now there's a lot of just bullshit, really, and there's a lot of us that are able to surpass that, but then there's also a lot of us that don't know how to surpass that and get stuck in that ugly hole of like, fucking just drama and bullshit. So yeah, that's how I feel about that.
Do you think women get overlooked or not taken seriously enough in graffiti?
I think when I first started, It was kind of like when I was younger, I feel like a unicorn almost, because there wasn't a lot of graffiti writers. I can count them with my hand, the few that we were out there. And so fast forward now, there's a lot of more girls now. And I think that we don't get overlooked. I think we actually get admired. And, it's positive for us because before it was kind of oh yeah, like you're getting up but you're still a fucking toy, and now it's easier for us to prove that we're not toys. And so also the self-respect that we give ourselves in this game is very important. There's a lot of women that can go out there and self-sabotage themselves and self-destruct their character in these streets because they want to fucking get up, and they're not thinking like there's a lot of you as a woman that you need to take care of and gatekeep. So yeah, that's how I feel about that. It really depends on the woman, I think.
What would you say, like, that you dislike as far as like the art world?
I really dislike the like the turmoil of the drama that can come with it. I don't agree with the negativity that being a writer comes with, and I'm talking about in both aspects, females and males, because there's a lot of rumors that can be started that are not true, and then you got the fucking rumors in this game spread like wildfire. And so now you're getting stuck in these like fake news and shit. What I also don't like, and this is very important for me, is that I think, and I truly believe that this game can go in three ways. You either find balance in your life where you create your own personal life and you make graffiti your hobby or your coping mechanism, or you want to you're fucking mad, your fucking finger is itching, you want to go paint, and you go ahead and do that, and then you feel better. And then there's also this other positive side to it, which is there's graffiti writers out there that have made it for themselves to where they're making money. It's graffiti is now their career, and they get to sustain themselves in their lives that way. But then the part that I don't like is that ugly negative side of it, which is where graffiti takes people away from us. And I'm saying that in like I have a couple of friends that have gotten lost. I grew up with certain people, painting with them, fucking running amok and causing a lot of chaos in the streets, and now they're lost to drug addiction. They're living in a tent. They won't even be able to recognize me anymore. And that's the part of graffiti that really bothers me. When is the moment of the point of no return? At what moment do you face yourself and say, okay, you know what, like drugs and addiction go hand in hand with graffiti, really, but like at what point does a person say, you know what, this is not what I want for myself, let me turn around and make it better?
It really does have a dark side. When you're creating art, is it always all based off of your like personality, or is it pretty much just like like how you feel like at the moment?
A lot of it is my personality. Sometimes I don't have enough paint, so I just make it work. So, but yeah, a lot of it is my personality. You can see the bubbly person that I am. You can actually see that on a wall. And I think a lot of us are that. A lot of graffiti writers are that way. We have to have our personality be on the wall. It's like I'm a straight up fucking hip hop girl, and you can see the hip hop in my graffiti, but then there's also like the rocker foos, the fucking anarchist foos, and you can see that shit on the wall too. It's all types of different graph out there now, and yeah, definitely for me, my personality stands out.
And like touching up on like the different styles that's out there, you know. um how do you like personally deal with the criticism, you know? Because mind you, like you said, there's gossip like crazy
Yeah.
in this art world, but how do you deal with like criticism?
Well, I feel that criticism, just as rumors and fucking chit chatter, it should all be it should all be treated as a buffet. You get to fucking pick and choose what you wanna listen to, and if you know that, there has to be some type of discernment in you. If you know that someone's telling you, hey, you know what, you need to fix this in your art, and they're coming from a good place, then you can accept that. But if you know it's coming from some fucking hater shit, it's really easy to discard that. It's a matter of character. If you don't have a strong character to say, I'm the one that gets to choose what I get to receive in my life, and as criticism, then I know for a fact that I'm sticking to my lane and to my style and to what I want to do with my art. But if you don't have a strong character, then, and you're not strong minded, then these fucking words that are really for the birds, then they're gonna affect you in some way. And so you really have to choose what it is that you want to accept in your life when it comes to criticism.
Did you have any mentors coming up in the graph world?
I didn't. I had, well, I have my one of my best friends, Robski. He's I grew up. I met him in high school. We went to LA High together, and so that's where I ended up getting into MRL, which I've been in MRL. It's like been like 20 years now, but he's the one that's always been there to guide me through it all. I have my idol, which is Spana. I love you. I love you, bitch. And so I've never had like an older person mentor me, but I did have my peers mentor me, and they've always been there for me. They've always, they've told me when I'm wrong. They've also pushed me to do better, and so on and so forth.
What's the bond like between you and your crew outside of graffiti?
Well, with the guys, with the guy crew, MRL, it's, I see them often. They're, it's like a family, just to them I'm like a man stuck in a woman's body. And so I'm just like another homie to them. But yeah, it's a pretty, I have a pretty good relationship with them. I talk to them often, and yeah. And then with the girls, I'm pretty cool with them too. We talk on a daily basis. My homegirl Kat she's right here. Yeah, I talk to her on a daily basis. She's kind of like my second boyfriend, but she treats me right. Just kidding. Yeah, so it's there has to be some type of bond outside of painting, because you can't. There's a lot of people that make the mistake of being in a crew where they don't know where they're getting themselves into, and it brings problems, because it's kind of like when you first get in a relationship, you're gonna be in a bubble and everything's fucking great and dandy, and the person can't do nothing wrong. Well, when that fucking bubble pops and the flaws start coming out, that's when it really gets real. And so it's the same thing with friendships, the same thing with crews. Like, you gotta know who you're getting involved with. You can't just fucking go and say, oh yeah, you get up, so like, oh yeah, you paint nice, and so you're basing your whole decision on a fucking piece. Like, that shouldn't be valid. There has to be a deeper relationship with the people you choose to be in a crew with.
Okay. Do you have a favorite spot to hit?
I'm a bando baddie now. I think before I did a lot of hot girl years where like the tarps were my shit. But now I'm just always on the lookout to see where the fuck it could sneak in for a little bit, So yeah.
Now going back real quick to like the like art world. I keep saying graph, bro. I feel like art is the better term in a sense, but who would you say is like a tougher audience in the art world? Is it the men or is it the women?
Jesus. Well, it can go both ways. There's sometimes men, and no offense, okay, to you guys, okay, but a man's ego can be very fragile, and a lot of men, specifically in this game, they confuse a woman's get down with vandalism. If a woman gets up and they know, okay, this bitch is a down ass bitch, they equal that into, if she's a down ass bitch to go paint, she's probably gonna be a down ass bitch to fuck. And so it creates this like really bad scenario. And when they get rejected, it's like, oh, now you're a fucking toy. Now you're not a down ass bitch anymore. Now you're a fucking problem to the game. And it's like, you were not saying that a couple minutes ago, but now you're mad at me because I'm setting boundaries, because I fucking respect myself, you know? So I think that in that sense, you know, men can be very fragile. But at the same time, I've also ran into a lot of foods in the game, and I have a lot of homies that fucking, you know, they respect me, they show me love, they show me care. You know, when I see them, it's all fucking, I feel the love, I feel the respect that they have towards me, because again, you know, I've given myself that place in this game, you know, and I've been very careful about that too. So, and then when it comes to women, fuck, we can be very much each other's enemies. You know, it's hard sometimes to have to deal with hater bitches, because like, I didn't do anything to you, why are you so mad, you know? And you know, things like that. So it goes both ways, really, you know. And like I said before, it's just a matter of what are you gonna let in your life, you know? If there's a lot of things you can discard and accept, so it really goes back to that.
When you're creating art, right? Do you prefer being by yourself, you know, like you see it like as an intimate kind of like moment, or do you like rather just be around, you know, your peeps?
I'm very particular, actually. I'm very particular in who I allow to be in my space. I like painting alone a lot. I did it for a while, but then I also like painting with just one more person. You know, like I do that with Kat a lot. You know, we have a lot of like paint dates where it's just her and I, where, you know, it's a little bit more personal, where I can, you know, literally just spend some time with my homegirl and paint and, you know, do things like that. But and you know, there's obviously, like, I think it's just the time that's been given. You know, there's also been times where I want to be in a big group, I want to fucking kick it with a bunch of other writers, I want to paint alongside other writers, you know. But me personally, I like personal sessions. You know, personal sessions are like a +1 party sessions, you know. I like the intimate part of it.
So is it safe to say like you're a student of the game?
Oh yeah, definitely.
So, you know, being in this as a student, do you have like any other passions besides, you know, creating art?
Yeah. So, you know, when I became a mother, I went through this transition of, and I think a lot of other mom writers can maybe agree with me, that it's hard to leave this world behind where you weren't a party girl, you weren't a club girl, you weren't a bar girl, but you were a fucking street vandal. And it's hard to leave that life behind, and now you're transitioning to becoming this mother. And so it's kind of like a tug of war for a little bit. And so, you know, I had to be okay with the fact that I was now a single mother, and that I had to 100% have my focus on my child. And so out of that came my brand. And so I kind of transferred the passion that I had to do, you know, hot girl stuff and bombing in the street. That passion I had to transfer into something else. And that out of that came my brand. And so now, when it comes to my brand, the people that meet me and that vibe with me, they can feel my passion because I'm always very vocal about how I feel and about in my designs. You can feel it. You can feel it. Like when I'm vending, people can feel it. Like I'm very vocal about who I am, what I stand for, my morals, my values. And so yeah, I'm very passionate about everything that I do when it comes to my creative life.
That's what's up. Yo, we about to go into a little quick break. We over here at Eyesore Radio, chilling with the one and only Pink. Let's go. Yo, we back. Eyesore Radio. We over here chilling with the one and only Pink, holding it down. What's good?
What's up?
Hey, I have a question for you. Is there a difference between a grapher and a writer?
Yes. I think the term writer applies more to the homies that put in more of the detail work in the streets, and by that I mean the rugged work. I think writers are being a writer, I think, takes a place of foundation in the game because it means that you're gonna be out on the streets putting in the work that a piecer might not be putting. Excuse me. And so, I'm talking about those foods that like grab their one can and they're gonna go waste that one can catching tags on the street. These are the foods that are down. The foods that if they run into beef, it's gonna be taken care of. And so when they're running into somebody in the street, that's where it comes in. Like, hey, food, do you write? Because you're meeting another writer in the street, and you want to know who the fuck they are. Are they your enemy? Do you have to run something? Is it gonna be your homie? Like, where do they fit in that scenario? And as opposed to a grapher, there's more technical verbatim in there. There's more of a, you're recognizing the other person's work and how can I say, the skill, the techniques, the time they're taking into their craft. You're showing respect. You're showing respect to that hard work that the grapher is putting in. So I think there's a difference. But I do believe that a grapher could be a writer, and a writer could be a grapher.
Going off topic real quick. What's this Pink LA?
Pink LA is the name of my brand. It first came out of, it was back in 2022 when I've done 2 shows. I've curated 2 shows so far. The first one was in 2022. And when I was trying to figure out the name of the show, Pink LA came out because it was going to be the theme for the show. So everyone in the lineup had to do their piece using only pink colors. And so the point of that was that when you showed up to the venue, you're basically gonna walk into my world and see what I would want to see. Like, the world is a better place with pink in it, and I wanted people to understand that. So that's how that came up to be. And from there I took about a year of a break, and when I finally decided to go in 100% into making my brand, and it was time for me to look for a name, then Pink LA was kind of just of a, it was a natural thing for me to name my brand Pink LA.
What inspires your designs?
You know what? I've actually gone through different types of inspirations. The first part of the designs that I did were based off of a 90s kid theme. So I did a lot. I grabbed a lot of 90s cartoons and just like, just memories of going back into my childhood. And so I did a lot of like, Strawberry Shortcake, Hello Kitty, fucking Pinky and the Brain. And so I grabbed all those cartoon characters and I made them into my own design. And so now my designs have changed a little bit because, obviously as I'm growing and as I'm living my life and different things happen in my life, now I want to base my designs off of what I'm going through and kind of express myself the same way that I would do on a wall. If I'm feeling fucking mad and I want to go express that on a wall, I will. And it's the same way that I want to now approach my brand. And so and you can see that in my most recent designs, were like, okay, like she was probably going through some shit, and so that's the way that I've I cope a lot with my creative, the creative side of me.
Is it hard to balance being a writer and also building a brand?
I think it's more hard for me to balance being a writer, a brand, with being a mother. Because like I said, there's a lot of personal things that go on in my life, and it's hard because sometimes I can have something planned and something in my motherhood shows up where I can't come through. It's a lot of the pause that I've taken and painting in the streets also come from that. So it's definitely hard to balance, but if you really want to do something, you're gonna fucking do it. Like no one can stop me, because the only person that's gonna stop me is my fucking self. And so if I set my fucking head to say, you know what, even if I'm fucking going through all this shit, even if it's hard, even if I can't separate myself from it, like I'm still gonna hustle my way through, because that's what's gonna create the winning streaks for me. You can't win without going through shit, without having to balance things. You have to balance things in order for you to win, because nothing comes easy.
For someone that has never seen your brand, how would you describe it to them?
It's a bad bitch brand. Like, get with the program. So I don't know what else to say. I feel that a lot of the supporters that I have now, and shout out to all the people that have fucking supported my vision, that have believed in me. And it's because, like I said earlier, I'm very vocal about who I am. And so to the people that don't know, when they do find out, it makes sense to them, like, oh, okay, like I was missing out, but now I'm here now, and so a lot of my supporters can advocate to that. Yeah.
So let me ask you this, Pink. There's a lot of people that have so many ideas that they want to turn into a reality, and you got your clothing brand, and you're an artist yourself out there creating art. What advice would you give to somebody that doesn't know where to start as far as turning their passion into a reality?
I think the main thing is that you have to fucking trust yourself. And I know it's easier said than done, and I know that it might sound super vague and super fucking simple and like, bitch, how do you do that? But you gotta fucking sit with yourself and look at yourself in the fucking mirror and say, okay, how fucking bad do you want it? No one's gonna make that decision for you. You can only do it for yourself. And so when that decision comes through and you break through in your fucking mind and in your heart, and you say, okay, I'm gonna fucking go on and do it, you inspire this self-motivation, and you break the self-doubt. You put the self-doubt aside, And now you have this motivation that's gonna last you for only a little bit, okay? Because motivation is not, it's not a lifetime thing. Motivation can only set your fucking pace, and then at some point you gotta turn, you meet yourself with maybe wanting to be stagnant, or maybe saying, you know what, I don't want to do it no more. Oh, it's too fucking much. It's too much fucking work. You know what, fuck this. I'm fucking tired of it. I'm over it. I'm fucking, now I got this. How am I gonna get over this obstacle? And so, you know, when you're in that moment, that motivation has to turn into determination. How fucking determined are you really? And it's a test to your character, and it's you against you, really. Nobody, it's not you against, oh, this fucking person didn't come through for me. It's not fucking you versus, oh, you know what, this fucking store doesn't have the supplies I need. It's not fucking you versus fucking any other second party. It's you against you. And so if you really want to make it happen, you really have to trust yourself. You have to trust your instinct. You have to trust your skill. If you don't have a fucking skill, you have to trust that you're going to learn the skill. And so, yeah, I think my main advice is you have to trust yourself at all costs.
So the term, I guess, that's used nowadays is like crashing out, right?
Oh,
So-
yeah. I'm a queen of that sometimes.
So nobody's perfect. Nobody is perfect.
Nobody.
A lot of us have dark times. So I'm sure you might have had a really dark time where you felt like you were just not gonna come out of this hole,
Yeah.
but you did, and here you are.
Yes.
Now, you know, as a woman, what would you, what kind of advice would you give another woman that is in this hole, whether if it's a relationship problem or a problem at home? Like, what advice would you give to somebody that's in this dark time, and what is it that you can say that'll help them come out into the light?
Man, I can say a lot, but man, I think when I was in my dark hole, I separated myself from absolutely everything and anything that was not gonna serve my purpose. And my purpose at that moment was merely to save myself. It wasn't to start a brand. It wasn't to fucking be somebody on Instagram. It wasn't to fucking my fucking mere fucking goal was, I need to get myself out of this fucking shit. I need to be able to fucking look at myself in the mirror and be okay with what I'm looking at. I can get emotional. And so, I separated myself. I had friends, and that's how I knew who my real friends were, because even if I kind of disappeared, they respected the fact that I needed my space, and they respected the fact that, okay, you know what? We know she's going through something. She doesn't want to be fucking bothered. Let her find her way back. And so when I turned and maybe this might not work for everybody, okay, but it worked for me. I turned my despair into, like, it was almost like this, like, oh my God, it was like a revengeful anger, but it also came with a lot of hunger to be myself again. And it took me a while, man. I had to figure out what was the correct path. And so everyone has a different path. Not everyone is going to have the same path as me. Mine was getting up and getting myself to go do 1 hour workout, just 1 hour. And at first it was so hard, bro. I fucking had to, like, really, like I said, really look at myself in the mirror and be like, bitch, do you want to be stuck here forever? Like, no the fuck I didn't. And me getting that 1 hour to myself, and that can mean many different things. It doesn't have to be a workout, it can be anything for any woman, but I found myself through that again, giving myself that 1 hour a day, caring for myself and saying, you know what, you're not gonna put this in your body today. You don't deserve to fucking go eat a big ass fucking hamburger and get this instant gratification out of these really bad habits. It was more like find good habits and find yourself all over again. And so I did that, and it took me 2 years, 2 fucking years of a lot of trial and error, really, to find myself all over again. And I still am. I think women, especially women that are mothers, man, it's a journey for sure. But I'm grateful to God. I'm grateful to my friends. I'm grateful to my family. To my best friend, which was the one that really was there for me. But yeah, I'm very grateful now that fast forward, everything that I went through was worth it, because at the end of that fucking ugly ass dark hole and that tunnel that I was in, there was a really bright light. And also, my son, obviously, he was like my main reason as well. He was the one that told me, like, it doesn't matter what we go through, I love you no matter what. And so I make sure now that every day when I wake up, I'm gonna make the correct decisions for him specifically to always be proud of the mother that he had.
Do you ever see yourself stop doing graffiti?
No, I don't. No, I don't. Man, it's a part of me. I can't even think of not doing it. I've slowed down a lot, but there's always gonna be a big part of me that owes a lot to the game.
Do you have any shout outs that you want to give?
Yeah. My son, Leo, you're the shit. Also, I want to give a shout out to my mom, to my best friend, to my crews, to my man. Yeah, just to everyone that has in any way given me the opportunity to keep going, to anyone that has given me the motivation to keep pushing through and not stopping this journey that I'm on. And to you guys too, thank you for having me.
Pink, it was a pleasure having you. Thank you for blessing us with your words, your presence. We just want to let you know that you got mass support on our end over here at Eyesore. Yo, we wrapping this episode up with the one and only Pink holding it down once again. Yo, this is Eyesore Radio, baby. Let's go.